Okay, let's continue. So number 26, in the xy plane, the line determined by the points 2 comma k and k comma 32 passes through the origin. Which of the following could be the value of k? So the way I look at this one is I think about points and slope, because what I do have is I have 2 points. Actually, I have 3 points because it says it goes through the origin, so you know it goes through 0, 0. And which of the value can be the value of k? Well, if it has to go through all 3 points, the slope between one point and the origin and the other point and the origin all have to be the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope between these 2 points, and then I'm going to find the slope between these 2 points, and then I'm going to have to set them equal to each other because they're all on the same line, so therefore they all have to have the same slope. So if I find the slope between 2 comma k and 0, 0, then I would do k minus 0, so that's k, over 2 minus 0, so that's 2. And then if I find the slope between 0, 0 and k comma 32, then I would do 32 minus 0, which is 32, k minus 0, which is k, and again, set them equal to each other, because again, slopes have to be the same. I would cross multiply, I would get k squared equals 64, and that means k has to equal 8 if I square root. Now, technically it's plus or minus 8, but since negative 8 is not an option, the only answer that I can use is 8. 27, a rectangle is altered by increasing its length by 10% and decreasing its width by p%. If these alterations decrease the area of the rectangle by 12%, what is the value of p? So here's the thing, they didn't actually mention how long this rectangle is, how wide this rectangle is, what is the area. So I'm going to make up my own values. I'm going to say the length is equal to 100 and the width is equal to 100, because they're easy numbers to deal with when it comes to percentages. Okay, so the length is increased, so the new length, I'm going to call it L2, is increased by 10%, so that's 1.1, because again, 10% up means add 0.10 to 1 times 100, and the new width is p% decreased, so that means 1 minus p. Again, if I'm discounting something at the store, if I take 20% off, I'm really only paying 80%, right? 1 minus that percent times the 100. So if these alterations decrease the area, so what is the area here? The area is 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. It's 10,000. I just multiply length times width. It's a rectangle. Okay. If these alterations decrease the area by 12%, so that means A2 is equal to 0.88. Again, that's the same thing as 1 minus 1.12 times 10,000. Then I would get this equals 8800. Oh, sorry, that should be it. 8,800. So what I'm going to do is I want to figure out what this is equal to, which is 110. And then I have this, which is 100 minus 100p. And again, I know length times width is equal to area. So I can take this 110 times 100 minus 100p equals 880. And I'm solving for p, right? What's the value of p? So I'm going to distribute. So I'm going to get 11000 minus 11000p equals 880. I'm going to subtract. So I need my calculator here. Subtract 11,000. $8,800 minus 11,000 is negative 2,200. And I'm going to divide that by 11,000. And I get P is equal to negative 0.2. So that means what is the value of P? It's got to be 20%, right? Because if I'm losing 0.02, the value of P is 20%, because it did say P%. Okay, I think that's the best way to do it, especially if there's only percentages involved. The best thing to do is just talk about, actually come up with random numbers for all the other things, and then I'll solve for P on its own. Number 28, in planning maintenance for a city's infrastructure, a civil engineer estimates starting from the present, the population of the city will decrease by 10% every 20 years. So already decreasing by 10% means I'm not using 0.10, I'm actually using 0.9 because that's 1 minus 0.10. I'm losing 10%. If there's a 10% discount, it's 90% is what I'm paying for. So it's not these two. Every 20 years. So if the present population is 50,000, which these have the same, the question is the exponent 20t or t divided by 20? Well, since it only happens every 20 years, okay, I have to wait 20 years before I see that 10% change, right? If I plug in 1 here, all of a sudden I'm multiplying 0.90 times or to the power of 20. That's big. However, it's not until I plug in 20 in here that I see 0.9 just alone, because what's 0.9 to the power of 20 over 20? Well, that's the same thing as just 0.9 because it's to the power of 1. So that's why if it's every 20 years, it has to be this. I know a lot of times we think about per or for every as multiplication, but it takes 20 years before I see change. So that means it's going to be slowed down a little bit. All right, number 29. The incomplete table summarizes the number of left-handed students and right-handed students by the gender of an eighth grade students at the middle school. There are 5 times as many right-handed females as there are left-handed females. So as far as left-handeds, there are 5x compared to x right here. And then there's 9 times as many right-handed male students as there are females. So then it's 9y, because again, I have to multiply x times 5. Sorry, it goes the other way around. I have to multiply the number of left-handed students by 5 to get the number of right-handed students, and the number of left-handed male students to get the number of right-handed male students. So actually, those go on the other side. Which of the following is the closest probability? So we'll figure out probability in a little bit. Let's figure out what x and y actually are. So we know that x plus y have to add up to 18 because the total number of left-handed students is 18. And I know 5x plus 9y is equal to 122. So I'm going to quickly solve for all this. So I'm going to multiply the top one by -5, which gives me -5x minus 5y equals, what is 18 times 5? That is -90. And I get 4y is equal to 32. So y is equal to 8. Okay, so y is equal to 8. So I can actually fill out this table because I know y is equal to 8. And therefore, based on this, if y is equal to 8, x must be 10. So these values are actually 10 and 50, and then 8 and, 8 and 72. So then let's now go back to what was the question. Which of the following is the closest probability that a right-handed student selected at random, so of all the right-handed students, so that's 122, is a female? So how many females are there? There is 50. So what is 50 divided by 122? 50 divided by 122 equals 0.409. So that's going to be A. All right, and finally, in the equations above, B and C are constants. If B is C minus 1/2, which of the following is true? So what I'm going to do right away is rewrite the equation. And here's a benefit of rewriting the equation. I just noticed that I wrote x on both sides. I could just get all the x's to one side. It's kind of redundant to leave those separately. So then B is equal to 2x minus 7. And then, I could do the same thing in the bottom one. C is equal to 2y minus 7, because again, I could just subtract 3y. So what does it say? If B is C minus 1/2, so B equals C minus 1/2, if I plug in B here and I plug in C here, then I have 2x minus 7 is equal to 2y minus 7 minus 1/2. But what do I want to do from here? One good way of looking at that, figuring that out, One good way of figuring that out is by looking at the answers. What do all the answers have in common? Get x by itself. So I'm going to add 7. I'm going to divide everything by 2. And I get x equals y minus, and then what's half of 2? Sorry, half of half, so 1/2 divided by 2, that's going to be 1/4. So if I have 50 cents, what's half of 50 cents? It's a quarter. And that's my answer, A.